Hey guys, here's a review video for your test on Thursday. I forgot that we didn't have class, so I was going to make it in class. It didn't work out, so let's just talk a little bit about it. You mainly have two skills. One is going to be solving with square roots, and then you're going to have solving with quadratic formula. We'll talk about both. First, let's solve with square roots, okay? So for example, if you have x squared equals 25, you want to square root both sides, because you want to get rid of this x to the second power. All right. Because you want to get rid of this x to the second power, you want to get rid of the second power, you do the opposite, which is square rooting. Now, you have to, whenever you square root, do plus or minus 5. The reason is 5 times 5 gives you 25, but negative 5 times negative 5 gives you 25. Which means that x could have been 5 or negative 5. So you list both. But what happens if there's stuff in the way? For example, x squared plus 3 equals 19. You subtract and get x squared by itself. Mainly, when you're dealing with x squared, is you're still doing it just like an algebra equation, where you're just getting x squared by itself. You square root at the end, and that's going to be x equals plus or minus 4. Okay. Let's do another thing. If it was 3x squared equals 27, you divide 3 on both sides because it's times by 3. So this going to be x squared equals 9. And then square root both sides. X equals plus or minus 3. If you have a situation where there's a parenthesis under a square, let's do 100. What you're going to do is you're going to still square root, because square rooting allows me to cancel out the square. Which means I still square root this side, which is plus or minus 10. Now this scenario is pretty important. In this scenario, it's plus or minus 10. So what we have to do is split it into two separate equations, where you have x plus 3 equals 10, and x plus 3 equal negative 10. Minus 3, x equals 7. Minus 3, x equals negative 13. Notice how I get two different answers. I did also get two different answers. I just could write plus 3 minus 3 is positive 3 and negative 3. In this case, I get 7 and negative 13. So if you're dealing with parentheses, you know something's going to be up, where you have to set it up like that. Now let's do one with quadratic formula. So y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2. And I'm going to do quadratic formula. You need to know the formula. B squared minus plus or minus the square root of, sorry about that, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So in this scenario, I'm going to define what my ABCs are, which is 1, 3, 2. And then I take it and just plug it into the equation. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2 all over 2 times 1. I am just replacing all the letters with the numbers that they match with. If I were to do it in my calculator, I would do 3 squared first, which is 9, and I would do negative 4 times 1 times 2. That should leave you with negative 8. So it's going to be 9 minus 8, which is negative 3 plus or minus square root of 1 over 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Now I split and solve. So negative 3 plus the square root of 1, which is 1, over 2, and negative 3 minus the square root of 1, which is, again, 1. If it was like the square root of 4, make sure you write it as 2. So negative 3 minus 1 over 2. Negative 2 over 2, negative 1. Negative 4 over 2, negative 2. So it's negative 1 and negative 2. Okay, hope that helps with your test.